Hello everyone and welcome back to Investment Research. I'm Simo, your equity research analyst, and today I'm giving you 5 biotech names that fit the brief of being relatively cheap right now, yet carrying meaningful upside potential. These are not safe picks. They are higher risk, higher optionality ideas that can move a lot depending on trial data, regulatory news, or commercial execution. I'll tell you why I like each one, what to watch for, and how I would think about sizing a position if you want exposure without blowing up your portfolio. No hype, just plain talk about opportunity and risk. First pick is Oko Pharma, ticker OKYO. This is a tiny clinical stage company focused on treatments for neuropathic corneal pain and dry eye disease. The stock is low priced and the valuation is small enough that a single positive clinical readout or a good licensing deal could move the share price many multiples. Why I like it is simple. The lead program addresses a real unmet need where approved options are limited. The development path is relatively straightforward compared with oncology trials, and the company has shown signs of strong early efficacy signals in small studies. What can go wrong is obvious. Small sample sizes can be noisy, and regulatory hurdles or disappointing confirmatory data will crush sentiment. If you buy it, treat it like a high-risk lottery ticket. Small core position, plan to add only on clear clinical progress and set a stop or maximum loss you can tolerate. Second pick is IO Biotech, ticker IOBT. This is an immuno-oncology developer building cancer vaccine technology that aims to train the immune system with a different approach. The market cap is tiny and the story is early but attractive because their platform, if validated, is broadly applicable across tumor types. You buy IO Biotech for the platform optionality and the possibility of partnership interest from a larger oncology player if the initial data are encouraging. What I watch closely are any randomized trial readouts and partner discussions reported during conferences. This is a patience game. Expect big swings and keep position size small relative to your total portfolio. Third pick is Puma Biotechnology, ticker PBYI. This one is an odd mix because the shares have traded cheaply relative to the legacy pipeline and cash flow potential from marketed oncology drugs. Puma has had ups and downs, but the balance sheet and product royalties give it a different risk profile than preclinical plays. If you prefer something that is low priced but with tangible revenue behind it, Puma becomes interesting. Key risks include product competition and any surprise regulatory costs. For traders, earnings and guidance plus any royalty announcements are catalysts. For investors, look for multiple quarters of stable cash flow before scaling up. Fourth pick is Dynavax Technologies, ticker DVAX. This is a cheap liquid biotech with a clear commercial product and an R&D pipeline that can surprise. The company has had volatile moves tied to vaccine news and regulatory releases in the past. I like Dynavax because it is less binary than pure clinical stage microcaps. There are commercial levers, partnerships, and several upcoming data readouts that could change the narrative. That said, vaccine markets can be lumpy and policy or procurement shifts are real risks. If you buy DVAX, do so with an idea window of 6 to 18 months and be ready for noise around headline news. Fifth pick is Kiniksa Pharmaceuticals, ticker KNSA. This one sits in the middle ground between speculative and established. Kiniksa has an approved product for recurrent pericarditis and other assets that could expand substantially. The stock is affordable compared with larger immunology peers, and the company has shown improving revenue and margins. What I like is the combination of an existing commercial footprint plus a pipeline that could drive future growth. The risks are familiar to any small commercial biotech: market uptake, pricing pressure, and the need to demonstrate sustainable margin improvement. For investors who want a little less pure binary risk, Kiniksa offers that blend. Now some practical trading and portfolio rules that are crucial with these names. First, size conservatively. Treat any single stock in this list as a satellite position. I would not allocate more than 2% to 3% of total portfolio capital to any one of these names unless you have high conviction and can tolerate a complete loss. Second, spread your entry. Use dollar cost averaging or build a core position and add on confirmed positive catalysts like trial data or favorable regulatory moves. Third, set explicit risk rules. Decide in advance your maximum drawdown per position and stick to it. Biotech sells off fast on bad news, and you do not want to be gambling emotionally. Fourth, pay attention to liquidity. Smaller names can gap and get hard to trade. Use limit orders rather than market orders and be mindful of spreads. What I watch as the most important catalysts for these picks are clinical readouts, regulatory interactions, licensing or partnership announcements, and revenue guidance if a company has a commercial product. Conferences and investor days are often when management lays out timelines and upcoming data, so plan trades around those events. Also, watch cash runway for the microcaps. Many will need to raise capital at some point, and dilution can offset upside. Where to buy these stocks and practical broker advice. For US investors, I recommend using Schwab, Fidelity, or Interactive Brokers if you want reliability, good execution, and clear trade reporting. If you trade small, Robinhood and Webull offer simplicity and fractional shares, but they do not replace a serious broker for limit orders on thinly traded biotech names. Make sure your broker supports extended hours trading if you trade news, and make sure you understand options availability and margin rules if you plan to use leverage. For international investors, Interactive Brokers is often the best option for direct access to US OTC and NASDAQ microcaps. A short playbook for execution. Decide your total exposure for the biotech bucket in your portfolio. I use a rule of thumb: 5% to 10% of investable assets in a speculative biotech sleeve for an aggressive growth allocation. Within that sleeve, give larger allocations to the names with commercial revenue or clearer regulatory paths, and smaller allocations to the microcaps with binary clinical risk. Rebalance every quarter and take profits on outsized winners, moving proceeds into safer holdings or into the next speculative idea. Finally, let me be blunt about the psychology. Biotech is emotional. You will see big moves and you will feel tempted to chase or panic sell. The smartest approach is to stay disciplined, know your time horizon, and treat the portfolio as a diversified set of bets rather than a single hope. If you want a higher probability approach, combine one or two of the modestly risky names like Kiniksa or Dynavax with a broad healthcare ETF as your core. To sum up, my 5 picks today are Oko Pharma, Oko for high reward clinical optionality, IO Biotech, IOBT for a novel oncology platform, Puma Biotechnology, PBYI for cheap revenue backed exposure, Dynavax Technologies, DVAX for a mix of commercial and pipeline upside, and Kiniksa Pharmaceuticals KNSA for a balanced growth plus revenue story. All 5 have upside potential but also real risks. Size your position small, use limit orders, watch catalysts closely, and if you want to be more conservative, pair these names with a broader healthcare or dividend holding to smooth the ride.